A lot of the videos you've been seeing on this channel have lately been edited on this beast of a laptop. And yes, it is flush. I could actually turn it like that and make it more of a, more of a blade that I can cut with. Meet the ASUS Republic of Gamers Zephyrus M16 laptop. This thing has an Intel i9 processor, an NVIDIA RTX 3060, 16 gigs of RAM, and a terabyte of storage. Let's get into it. Now you might be like, oh, Mikhail, how come you're wearing a different shirt? Well, typically when you're recording YouTube videos, you're not always going to do everything in one take. You're typically going to do them in multiple takes, and so I'm doing this in another take. But what I want to do right here is get the tech specs out the way, because there's the tech patrol where they want all the tech specs that for the average consumer is going to go over their head, but for the tech junkies out there like myself, this is the information that they want to know, and I'm going to go ahead and give it to you before I take it back to the average consumer perspective of why they should get this computer. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into the tech specs. So the ROG Zephyrus M16 GU603HM, it comes with an Intel i9 11th generation 11900H processor, which has 8 cores and 16 threads. So this thing will shred like crazy. Like you're not dealing with those, I'm a really nice computer, but I'm only a quad core laptop and I'm gonna limit your game capability and your creativity. Yeah, it's not doing anything. This like WCW used to say back in the day, this is where the big boys play. And that's what you're getting here. You're getting an i9 11900H, and yeah, this is where the big boys play. You also get an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060 graphics card that allows you to play just about anything that's current generation right now. Plus, if you couple that in with the screen resolution that you have. Now going back to the display, it's a 16-inch WQXGA 2560 by 1600 16:10 aspect ratio with anti-glare display, DCI-P3 100%, a refresh rate of 165 Hz with a response time of 3 milliseconds, IPS level, and Partone validated. Yes, this thing is a beast. If you want to run games at 1080p or 1440p, go ahead, you can do so. Like you're not going to run into any real issues. I mean, there's some games like Cyberpunk where it runs fine. Trust me, it does run fine, but it's not one of those games where it's Cyberpunk 2077 reminds me of Crysis back in the day. It's a really graphically impressive game that's poorly optimized in a way, so console or PC struggles either way, but it will run on this machine, just so you know that. Now going back to the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060 that you have, it will utilize the ROG boost up to 1525 megahertz at 80 watts and 95 watts with dynamic boost. It's a 6 gigabyte GDDR6, and this thing is just, man, I absolutely love it. It's got about 16 gigs of DDR4 that you can utilize. 8 gigs of DDR4 is soldered onto the motherboard at 3200 megahertz, allowing for dual channel processing. However, do keep in mind that if you wanted to put more RAM in, you can put more RAM at the maximum capacity of about 40 gigabytes of RAM, but you will lose that dual channel capability, and that will affect some of the performance for various video games that you're going to try to play. But if you're using this purely for creativity, 3D rendering, and the like, then it'll be fine. Just keep in mind you will bottleneck on some things when it comes to gaming, just because of that soldered on RAM. I don't understand, because Alienware does this as well, where they're soldering on RAM and limiting you to utilizing one RAM slot, and I don't understand it. I think it's stupid that they're doing this, but it is what it is. But can you get by on the 16 gigs of RAM that it has? Really depends on what you're doing. If you're just doing gaming and some content creating, like for content creators, I think we can get away with it. Like I do a lot of my video and photo editing on it. in a lot of my gaming, and it works perfectly fine. In many ways, it's comparable to my desktop here that has 32 gigs of RAM built into it. But other than that, there will be some snags and snafus you'll run into, just so do be aware of that. If you want to upgrade this, you're gonna run into some issues there. But speaking of other things that this thing has, it does have a 1TB M.2 NVMe PCIe 3.0 SSD built into it, and also has an additional slot if you want to add in another M.2 SSD in it. I'm thinking about personally picking up either a 4 or 5 terabyte, NVMe. But we'll see, if I can get my hands on it, because getting your hands on stuff like that here in Hawaii is almost impossible to do. But if I can get my hands on it, guaranteed, it's a lot. I'm going to be putting that in there. It's something that I think is cool that you do have that slot, and you can also replace the current, storage that is on the computer itself. So if you aren't satisfied with the 1TB it has and you want to upgrade that, then you can do that as well. Now let's talk about the I/O in this thing. And for those of you who are not familiar with the term I/O means, it's basically the different ports you can use on your computer, your laptop, your phone, your tablet. Almost everything has I/O. Hell, our bodies are I/O. Yeah, I went there, but you know what I mean. So basically what you get with this computer, you get a 3.5 millimeter combo audio jack, you get one HDMI 2.0B, you get one USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A, one USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A, one USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type C, which supports DisplayPort power delivery, as well as a Thunderbolt 4 input, one RJ45 LAN port, and one card reader for micro SDs. Now it's interesting to me that they decided to go with a micro SD card reader versus a regular SD card reader, or not giving you the option to have both. It is what it is, but it's kind of interesting that they did that. One of the cool things I can think you can utilize with that is if you go and get like a 1TB micro SD card with a high extreme speed, put that in there, boom, you got another terabyte of storage right there that you can utilize. So there you go. When it comes to the keyboard and the touchpad, very responsive. I've had absolutely no issues with it whatsoever. The keys feel very natural. I really like the ASUS ROG keys. Like, they just feel good. They're very flush. They don't feel like too cramped or compacted. I can type on them very easily, and a lot of times I'm typing, I'm not even looking. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, it's really easy to just work on it. Whether you're typing Word documents, you're playing video games, it just works perfectly fine. The touchpad is very responsive. I would even go to say that the touchpad rivals a MacBook. I utilize a MacBook Pro as well as utilizing a Windows laptop, and between these two, the touchpads are just as responsive and comparable to one another. So I absolutely love that as well. Now it does come with a front-facing camera, which kind of surprised me because a lot of the other ASUS ROG laptops don't come with it. But here we're going to do a little sample of the mic and the camera, so you can not only hear what it sounds like, but you can see what the video of the webcam looks like as well. So this is what the camera looks like. This is what the microphone and the camera on the laptop, well, the camera too. This is what it sounds like. The camera records at 720p 30 frames per second and a 16:9 aspect ratio. If you've got really good lighting, maybe this will look better. It's very blurry. The microphone is supposed to have noise rejection built into it, but I'm sure you're going to hear outside noise in the environment. So this is it. I'll be honest, this is not a great webcam, but really, I don't really know any, laptop that has a good webcam, to be honest. And at the very least, compared to other ASUS, ROG laptops that are below 16 inches, at least this comes with one. They don't typically. You typically have to use, your smartphone to be able to utilize the camera functionality. Now, there is that app you can download for my ASUS app, which allows you to also use your smartphone. You can pair it via I believe it's via Wi-Fi, and you can use your phone as a webcam. But as it is, this right here is struggling with contrast, with brightness. And you see it's, you know, if it's got enough light coming into it, it's working really okay. It is what it is. And as far as the audio, it's okay. I just use a webcam, or you know, use a DSLR or a GoPro. Anything better than this. I'm just saying. Now, when it comes to the speakers on this computer, man, they get loud and they kick. Now, when it comes to networking communication, you know, I talked about the RJ45 that's built into it, but it also is a laptop that utilizes Wi-Fi 6, which is a new wireless standard, which is 802.11ax, so do keep that in mind. It also has Bluetooth 5.2 and a dual band capacity, so you know, almost, so basically, you know, devices you have will connect to it like that. This thing is lightning fast, so just keep that in mind. You're not going to have any connectivity or speed issues or anything like that. Now, as far as the battery, you got a 90-watt battery. It's a 4S1P 4-cell lithium-ion battery. Now, in layman's term, what does that mean? So when you're using this, if you're not gaming, you know, you're just browsing the web, maybe watching a YouTube video here and there, listen to some music, typing up some documents, you're probably going to get anywhere from like 4 to 5 hours of battery life on average. Now, if you've got the high refresh rate on, cut about, you know, an hour off of that, there you go. And this is with the brightness, some medium settings. If you're going full brightness, probably you're going to get 3 hours out of it. If you're going to be gaming, look, anybody who games on a gaming laptop on battery, you're going to get probably 25 to 30 minutes of battery life before it dies. So also, too, the other thing to realize is you won't be able to use the full capacity of the computer itself on battery, because there's power settings that are locked behind utilizing the power adapter that comes with it. So if you're not utilizing that, you're not going to get the max performance that you can out of it. So keep that in mind. As far as the weight of the laptop too, it's about 4.19 pounds. I find it to be feather light. Some other people have said that it feels kind of heavy to them, but to me, it is what it is. It's light. I lift. Enough said. And one of the other things too that is really cool about it, it does have biometrics for logging in to the computer. So it utilizes Windows Hello. With your fingerprint, you can, you know, store up to a couple of different fingerprints. You know, if you want to use different indexes or different fingers, you know, or if you want to use your toes, or if you want to have like another family member be able to access the laptop as well, then it's built into the power button. Just press your finger on it. It usually unlocks like that. Maybe there's some times where there's a hiccup where it doesn't automatically register, but all in all, it does very well for what it is. Okay, so what are some of the issues with this laptop? Given how thin and light it is, and given the power behind it, having an RTX 3060, an i9 11th gen, it does run a bit hot. It can get pretty toasty. It's not going to get burning unless you're like gaming on it. That will burn your lap if you're going to have it there. Also, there's the fact that when you flip up the lid also doubles as a prop for it. So by propping it, it shoots the air because there's ventilation in between the computer base and the built-in monitor. You know what I'm talking about. It's right there. So the air is going to shoot upwards. And some people have had concerns or raised concerns about it because it's like, oh, is this going to warp the screen or distort the screen because it's shooting the hot air there? I personally haven't run into any issues with it, but there are various profiles you can use to change out the different, you know, speeds of the fans. So if you want to be on quiet, you know, as a silent profile, there's a Windows profile if you don't want to turn on any of the ROG assisted profiles it comes with. There's max mode, performance, and custom, so you can tweak the various things if you want the fans to be full speed or none at all, you can do so and tweak it within the ROG Center. Now, I will say I've had some other issues with the biometric reader not being detected whatsoever. I don't know why it does this, and I've had, when it initially happened to me, I was trying to figure out what the hell I can do to like reconfigure it, turn it back on. I thought it was something that I did, but really it came down to the fact that I just needed to go and, you know, reboot the computer, press and hold F2, go into the BIOS and restore default settings, which basically for some reason will reconnect the biometric scanner back to the computer so it'll start working again. It's really random, but sometimes when you do updates on this computer from Windows, it disables the biometric reader. I don't know why it does that. I've also had issues where Windows updates will disable the Wi-Fi capability entirely, and you know, I had to work with ASUS, you know, customer service to figure out what to do. Again, it's remedied by going into the BIOS and resetting everything. And that can be a problem for a lot of people because that's several extra steps to just get the damn laptop to work the way it should work. Again, this if you're coming from the Mac world, you don't have to deal with these type of issues, but because, you know, you got the manufacturer and the OS are making the same product, right? But when it's the Windows world, you've got different BIOS and updates for the Windows computer from the OEM, and then you've got to deal with Windows itself, and it's, you know, a lot of times they clash and it just doesn't work out overall. Another thing to keep in mind that I've run into an issue is occasionally a blue screen of death, which is usually, you know, there's some type of error, or, you know, and I've had that happen personally after a few Windows updates. Now, optional updates I don't even run anymore because when I ran them, that's when I would run into the blue screen of death. But I know that this is a case-by-case minority type of thing. It doesn't really happen all the time, and it's not widespread. You know, I've really run into a blue screen of death probably 3 times total having this laptop. But that's what I've experienced with it. Outside of that, I haven't had any other issues with this computer. As far as gaming, you know, video editing, this video right here is edited using that computer, and photo editing, 3D rendering, and, you know, audio mixing, everything works perfectly fine until the Windows update comes along and goes, surprise motherfucker, and fucks up the whole thing. Just, you know, it's one of those things I deal with. So yeah, all in all, I'd say the ASUS, the ROG Zephyrus M16, I'd say it's a solid computer with some minor issues here and there. Some people would probably, you know, push you more towards the Razer Blade, you know, that recently came out. I believe it's the Razer Blade 14 with all the updated specs. But again, you're going to be paying more for the Razer Blade than you would for this, and mainly because you're paying for the name. And look, nothing against Razer, I do work with them a lot, but this right here, I like this one a lot more. So that being said, what are your thoughts on the ASUS ROG Zephyrus M16 laptop? Do you have it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Have you run into a lot of snafus as well, or has it been smooth sailing for you? Whatever your thoughts are, let's get the conversation going in the comment section down below. If you want to take it further, we do have Discord as well as Gilded. Links for both of those are in the description below as well, and will be in the pinned comment as well. If you want to pick this laptop up, I will have affiliate links down below. You know, there's no cost to you, and it helps me out here on the channel. Like, it's a nice little kickback. So all that being said, I hope you guys have a great one. Deuces wild, too sweet, be the elites. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Mahalo for making it to the end of the video. I really appreciate your support by those of you who like the videos, who watch and who subscribe. And for those of you who are my Patreon supporters, thank you for your continued support because you help make this possible. If you enjoy my work and you'd like to support what we do have Patreon on patreon.com/MichaelCastnova. We also have Coffee as well as Subscribestar. So there's various methods if you want to support the work that we do here. We also have have channel membership, so make sure you check that out. That way you get up to date on all the latest and greatest content that comes here, and first, and exclusive content as well. And if you enjoy the work that I do and you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So with that being said, I'm Miguel Casanova, Hawaii content creator. I hope to see you on the next one. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ding the notification bell. And all that being said, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.